Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Zay and today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in March. So March was a doozy of a month. It was not a great month for me. Book-wise, and personal-wise as well. But I did not read a lot of books, which is totally fine. I think I read 7 books. I don't have a problem with that. But I don't have a lot of winners, and that's all that matters, is me loving the books that I'm reading, and I did not. So that is frustrating, but it's okay. We're going to talk about it today. I think we're going to have some good discussions and some good things to talk about. I only had one 5-star read this month. One of my favorite books of the year, so I guess that's good. But let's just get into it because this is very lackluster and I just kind of want to talk about these books and then I want to move on. I'm going to start with the book that I did not really like. We're just going to get it out of the way. I gave this book 2 stars. It was a new release. We're going to talk about some new releases first. And the first book I read, well, one of the books that I read that was new release was Storms and Secrets by Claire Kingsley. So this is the second book in the, I don't have it written down, but I believe it's the Haven Brothers series. It's a small town series, romantic suspense series. This series does connect to her Bailey Brothers, so I think that if you are a fan of her series, I do think that you will enjoy this series a little bit more, just because you will be a little bit more connected to it. I haven't read it yet. I do want to read it, but that didn't affect my reading experience with the first book I read. This is the second book, like I said, and I really liked the first book. It was really good, but the second book just wasn't, it just did not work for me. Quite disappointed about, because I was really excited to read this one. I will say the narration for this book, the audiobook, is really great, but the execution and the romance just did not work for me personally. So in this book, we're following a main character, Marigold. Marigold is lives in a small town. She has a salon, a hair salon, and she used to be in love with Zachary Haven, who is our hero. But something happened when they were in high school, and ever since then, she's just like tried to move on, but she's best friends with his sister. So, you know, she still has to be around him and things like that. Now we go to Zachary. So Zachary is one of the Haven brothers, and I think he's in her salon. He's helping, like, I want to say he's like an electrician or something like that. And he gets like electrocuted or something. He gets in an accident. And when he wakes up, realizes that he's in love with Marigold. Now at this point, Marigold has actually met a guy and she's gone on like a date with him and she's excited about him. He's very sweet. He's rich and he's treating her pretty well so far. So she's excited about this, and when Zach tries to tell her that he had this epiphany, that he loves her, he's always loved her, and that they belong together, and that she should be with him. And Marigold is like, you just want me because you know I'm dating someone else, like how cool of you to do this to me. No. Now, we have this other third point of view in the book, and from a young woman who is, she's very young. She's like 19 years old and she is trying to get to Vegas. But she gets like picked up on the side of the road by this guy. He's like, you shouldn't be alone by yourself. Like, you know, and he helps her when really he's keeping her captive. This book actually gets pretty dark. I was surprised by what happens. There is a trigger warning for sex trafficking, but this gets very dark, okay? Like, definitely did not feel right for the story. But anyway, we have this third POV going on also in the book. Our heroine kind of gets herself in a situation with the man that she's seeing, and Zach steps up to help her, and that's how the romance progresses. The romance, what romance? I did not feel like this one had a romance. The development of their relationship was non-existent. I did not feel anything towards them. I did not think it made sense, and I think it just came out of left field. And then the romantic suspense part of the book, while it was interesting, like it definitely has you on the edge of your seat, it's very predictable, and it's quite dark. It really went with the book, and Carrie Claire Kingsley has a quirky kind of writing style. She has a very unique writing style. To me, I think you're like, okay, this is a Claire Kingsley book. This kind of sets her apart from other authors, and it just didn't fit well with the book, in my opinion. I know this is small town romantic suspense, but it just didn't, the two didn't go well to me together. So it wasn't fleshed out enough. The romance was not fleshed out enough. The romantic suspense part of the novel was very weak because it's very predictable. I'm not saying it has to be unpredictable, but it wasn't even interesting. There's violence, quite a bit of violence in this book. I just wasn't expecting it. And I guess that's fine. It's a romantic suspense book, but I just felt like there were things in this book that did not flow well together, and it was a very clunky story overall. So not a good installment in the series, in my opinion. I gave it 2 stars, but the audiobook is really great. So, and I will read the next one. I'm intrigued. Okay, I'm going to talk about Ready or Not by Cara Bastone. So here's the thing. I'm a big fan of Cara Bastone, and so I am so happy that this book is blowing up and more people are going to go and start reading more of her books. It's been quite a while since she's had a book come out, like a full novel. I know she had some Audible exclusives come out, but I've read most of her books. I think there's just like an Audible exclusive somewhere that I haven't read, but I've read most of her books, so I am a fan, and I am really happy that people are enjoying her work. This book is not my favorite by her. I think she's written some better books, but I'm glad people are enjoying this one. A lot of people are comparing this to Out on a Limb, which I think is a good kind of comparison. Like, if you liked Out on a Limb, I do think you'll like this one as well. I do not like it more than Out on a Limb. Out on a Limb is like perfect for me. Ready or Not is not perfect for me, but it is a book that I'd recommend. It was sweet. It was good. It's a book that I recommend for the summertime. I really enjoyed it, and Cara Bastone is just a great writer, and I have missed her writing and I have missed her stories. So this is a surprise pregnancy book, friends to lovers, and the heroine is pregnant, but not with the hero's baby, which is a microtrope that I am becoming completely obsessed with. And then a hero is a golden retriever. So this book is about Eve Hatch. She has a one-night stand with this guy, and she finds out that she is pregnant. Now, things are very complicated with the father of her child, okay? When they hooked up, he was single, but he got right back with his ex right after they hooked up. But now he's having a baby with another woman, and his girlfriend is pissed off. And so he's in a very complicated situation, and he is not sure that he can commit to co-parenting with her and being there for the baby. So Eve is pregnant. She's pregnant by someone she doesn't really know through a one-night stand, and now she might be doing this on her own, and that's a lot of things to kind of balance and take on. But she has a very supportive friend group and a lot of supportive friends, and one of them is Shep, who is our hero, and that is our love interest. This man is there for her every step of the way. He is not leaving her side. I mean, he's just so sweet and like kind of perfect, and you know, we have this romance that develops, but of course it's very complicated because she has a lot going on in her life, and Shep does not want to overstep or anything, but he has always had feelings for her, and so that's the premise of this book. Now, Shep is perfect. I will say we do not get Shep's point of view, which we don't get the point of view of the hero in Out on a Limb either, but I felt quite disconnected from Shep. I'm not sure if this was me. You're gonna hear me say I felt disconnected in a lot of these books, and I don't know if it was me or if it's the books. I'm not sure. I had a tough reading month, and I was in a reading slump. Like, I haven't read anything for like over a week at this point. So I like this book, but I felt very disconnected from Shep. I liked Eve's character. I felt very connected to her character, but I felt disconnected from Shep. And Out on a Limb, he didn't get a point of view. The hero didn't get a point of view either. So I don't know if that was it, but Shep just felt like this perfect guy, and there's nothing else to him. And I need more to my main characters. I need more development. I need more layers to their characters. And he just felt like this perfect guy. And, you know, He was great though. He was really great to Eve and very supportive and sweet. And there's a lot of like pregnancy stuff in here, like pregnancy classes. We get like a birth scene, and we don't get all that in On a Limb, which is why I think I like Out on a Limb better, because I don't actually like pregnancy books, but I like what comes with that, like the sweet moments that we get with the romances and the like these two people kind of working together and coming together. I like that part, right? Because we get a lot of like forced proximity, but I don't really care about the baby stuff, to be honest. So we do get a lot more of that in Ready or Not, which I don't care for. But this was a very cute story. It just felt like very real. This felt like a very realistic romance, which I really enjoyed. And I just wanted more from it. I just felt disconnected from them. I don't know. I don't understand. So there's that. But it felt really good to read a book by Kira Down. She writes really great romances, slow burn romances, and she does a really good job of having a really strong plot in her romances, which is something that I've really been missing in character development, and that happened in this one with Eve. I just wanted more from her hero and wanted more from the romance, but it was good and I liked it. It was very sweet. I like how everything came together in the end. It honestly came together so perfectly, and this is just such a sweet story, and the audiobook is pretty decent as well. This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. Okay, this is the next new release that I read, and this is a very anticipated release. I really loved Before I Let Go, which is the first book in the Skyline series. This is the second one. I was really excited for this one because I love what Kennedy Ryan has created. I love this book that centers around three best friends. The first book is Second Chance Romance, and this book is quite different. It's this book. I gave this one 4 stars though, did not get 5 stars. I loved Before I Let Go more, but I did really enjoy this one. Well written. Kennedy Ryan cannot write a freaking bad book. So in this book we're following Soledad. Soledad is a mother, a stay-at-home mother to her 3 girls, and her husband sucks. Okay, he is horrible. The way that he was treating her at the beginning of this book pissed me off, and I wanted to throw my book across the room, which we did have some signs of in Before I Let Go, but being able to like see it and feel it from Soledad's point of view was just awful. Anyway, so Soledad and her husband at the beginning of this book are getting ready to attend her husband's work event. And her husband has told her about this man named Judah, who he feels is after him. He works in like the accounting part of their company that they both work for. And he just feels like Judah is personally out for him. And he has complained a lot about Judah. She's heard a lot about this man. So when they get to the work event, she meets Judah. And these two have like an instant spark. Like there's just something between them that's obviously we can't explore. She's a married woman. But there's something that definitely happens between them, and that she feels pretty much right away when they meet. And some time goes by. We find out that Soledad's husband was involved in illegal activities with the company, and he is in big trouble with the police and big legal trouble as well. And he has left Soledad to deal with all of this. So Soledad now is a single mom. Her and her husband are no longer together. They are divorced. And she is a single mom, and she is trying to keep up their lifestyle that they once had. So months go by, and this is Soledad's reality. This is Soledad's life right now. Single mom, just trying to do what she can for her girls and trying to keep up with their lifestyle that they had. So Soledad tries to become a social media influencer. She tries to, be able to have a job where she can be with her children like she wants, but also have a career so where she can take care of her family. And Judah, our hero Judah, he tries his hardest to kind of involve himself in many ways with Soledad. He tries to make sure they have many interactions as they can. He's very interested in Soledad, and he was very instrumental in helping her and her kids out when all this was kind of unraveling with her ex-husband. So Soledad and Judah definitely have something, but Soledad is on this journey of self-discovery and just like independence and finding out who she is as a woman, as a single mom, and as a working mom, and she just doesn't really have time to kind of see what is this between her and Judah. It's not something that she really wants to explore at the moment, and so her and Judah kind of have this secretive kind of romance. They kind of have something going on, but she's not really ready to fully commit to Judah. Now, Judah is also a single dad. Him and his wife got a divorce, which this is how the book starts off, and he is a father to two autistic boys. Now, this book is very personal to Kennedy Ryan. I think this is just, in general, her most vulnerable series yet. Just kind of the things that she touched on in the first book, in this book as well. So this is really Soledad's journey of self-discovery and independency, finding her self-worth as a woman, as a person, and also falling in love with someone even though she is on this journey and she's not quite ready to commit to this romance. So again, this was beautifully written. There's some really beautiful moments in this book that I loved so much. But again, I felt so disconnected from the romance. Now, Judah, he does get his own point of view in his own chapters, but I felt like Judah was like a side character in his own romance. I just didn't really know Judah, and I felt so disconnected from him. And I just don't know much more about him other than he's a single dad. He has two sons. He's a wonderful father. And for what he does with his career, I don't know anything else about Judah. And I just feel like I never got to really know Judah. I think the most important thing about this book was I just didn't really experience things with these characters. I was being told that Judah was in love with Soledad. I was being told that Soledad had feelings for Judah, but I didn't feel it. I did not experience it. I didn't go through it with these characters, which is what I want. And I felt like things were a little preachy at times with Soledad and her journey. I just wanted to feel it. I wanted to go on this journey with her. And I didn't. So because of that, this just wasn't my favorite. It's definitely not my favorite book by Kennedy Ryan. I do see why people are saying this book is for women's fiction. It is definitely not fully romance. Sad because this book definitely lacked in the romance department, but it was a great story and I love it for that. People were saying that about Before I Let Go as well, and I completely disagree. I do not think Before I Let Go was women's fiction, but I do see that. I do think this one is, and I can see why people have that kind of criticism towards this book. But this is a great one. I would absolutely recommend it. Beautifully written story, moving story, and I'm just so happy that I got to read this book by Kennedy. And I listened to it on audio. Audiobook was fantastic. Jacoby Diem is the narrator, and he is chef's kiss every single time. He does such a good job. But yeah, this is a really great story, and I really enjoyed Soledad's journey. On the topic of single dads, I'm going to talk about the next book that I read, the next new release that came out, and that is If You Give a Single Dad a Nanny by Anne Einerson. This is the first book in her Aspen Grove series. Now, she did have a novella, a holiday novella called If You Give a Grump a Holiday Wish List, which gives you an introduction to the small town and the family. This follows the heroine, and this follows the Stafford siblings. I think all the siblings are going to have a book. So if you want, you can read this one. It's not, you don't have to. It's not mandatory. You can absolutely just go into this one. And technically, this is the first book in the series. So this is a single dad, billionaire romance, small town, so many fun tropes. This book was just so much fun. And our hero, Dylan, our main character Dylan, he is a single dad to this adorable little girl. She's so stinking cute. And he is also a working dad. He has a lot on his plate. And unfortunately, he has lost his nanny, and it is the summertime. He needs help with his daughter. And there is this woman across the street, his neighbor, named Marlo, who he just doesn't understand Marlo. Marlo is full of life. She's a painter. She's very eccentric and just like full of life, very lively. Her outfits are, her house is pink, and she has this very mischievous dog and named Waffles. And his daughter and Waffles are like the best of friends. So unfortunately, he really can't get away from Marlo. Her dog and his daughter are just completely smitten and in love with each other. Now, his daughter really wants Marlo to be her nanny, and Marlo also wants to be her nanny, but she knows that Dylan doesn't really like. But Dylan really has no other choice, and from his mom definitely meddles and helps out with this as well to make this happen. But Marlo ends up being his daughter's nanny, and this man, he is broody, and grumpy and tries to stay away from her as much as he can and resist her, but he just can't. She is so wonderful to his daughter, and she is strong and smart and beautiful and funny, and he just cannot, really cannot resist her. And so he tries, but he just can't. But I really love Marlo and Dylan's story. Now, this is not anything like new, or this is not going to blow your socks off, but this is just a really good contemporary romance. I had so much fun. It was so sweet. It was so fun. I really liked the dynamic between Marlo and Dylan. We have a Grumpy Sunshine dynamic, and it was so good. I haven't really read a really good Grumpy Sunshine book in a long time, and I have to say that this is a new favorite for me. I loved it. I love their dynamic. I love their little family that they formed with his daughter and Waffles. Like, Waffles just really completes the family, the little mischievous dog, and I really loved it. It was just fun. And also, Marlo's character has a lot of depth, and so does Dylan's character as well, and I really enjoyed their story, and this story was just really great, really fun. It had its emotional moments. The reason I gave this one 4 stars and not 5, the sex scenes just like weren't my favorite. Dylan, some of the things that he says in this book just aren't really, to me, realistic to his character. I just didn't feel like he would really like say some of the things that he said, and I get it. It's what people are loving right now. It's what people are picking up. I understand, but it just didn't really feel like it was a good representation of his character. It just didn't feel like it was very in character for him. So there's that, and that's fine. But I really did enjoy this book, and I absolutely recommend it. The next book in the series is so good. We get a little sneak peek as to the next sibling it's going to be about, and it's like, it seems like it's going to be Marriage of Convenience, or they got married, maybe they're in Vegas. I have no idea, but I'm very, very excited for the next book in the series. We got a little sneak peek, and it was just enough to make me excited, but it didn't take away from our main couple in the story. So this was so cute, and isn't this cover like the absolute cutest? If this book doesn't make you happy, there's flowers and stuff all over it. It's perfect for spring. I highly recommend picking up Dylan and Marlo's book. It was so good. Okay, so next I'm going to talk about a backlist book that I've been wanting to read forever, and I actually realized that it was a part of the Audible Plus membership. So if you have Audible Plus, this book is available right now. I don't know how long it'll be available for, but I just want to tell you guys it's available right now. That is Forever Right Now by Emma Scott. And this book actually inspires a video that I have coming out, I think, later on in the month, so be on the lookout for that video. But this is a backlist book, which I have been wanting to read more backlist romances. It's something that I'm going to be prioritizing just because a lot of these new releases just are not hitting for me. But backlist books never disappoint. Okay, sometimes they do, but a lot of the times they hit, okay? They've been really good. And this is one of those. So this is a single dad romance. We have an angsty romance and a heroine with like a little bit of a dark past. So, or she has a past. Okay, so in this book we're following Sawyer. So Sawyer is in law school and things are just going well for him. He's just a regular old college student. But a little baby is left at his front door, and so this is his baby girl. So now he has this responsibility of taking care of his baby along with trying to graduate from law school. Obviously, this is a lot of responsibility and a lot that's been put on him all at once, but he's been doing his best for the last few months or so. And he has a next door neighbor. Her name is Darlene. She has just moved to the area, and Darlene is in need of a fresh start. She is a recovering addict, and she's just trying to get her life back on track. But she sees Sawyer, and she like helps him. She, make sure that he has some food, and she ends up like helping, kind of babysit his daughter, just kind of helping him out. And they form this friendship and this connection. But like I said, they both have a lot in their lives. So just romance is just not really something that's like on the table for them. But in Emma Scott fashion, there is things, that is not all that happens in this book. There's a lot more that happens. This is a very emotional book. If you know anything about Emma Scott, she's going to throw a wrench in your romance, okay? Like, things are going to be going well, and then she goes, whoop, here you go. And she threw it in here, and it was very good. This is not my favorite Emma Scott or anything. I gave this one 4 stars. Again, felt a little bit disconnected from the romance. I'm consistently saying that, and I'm starting to think it's not the books, and it's me, but I would absolutely recommend this one. It was a great book. It was very emotional. It was angsty. It was very beautifully written, a very beautiful story with a lot of layers. The romance is great, but like the story itself is really great as well. I really loved the characters, and they're quite young, and so I enjoyed reading about everything that they've had to go through and then like kind of getting through it together. And that's what I love about romance. At the end of the day, we know they're going to end up together, and so we enjoy like this journey that she takes us on that's agonizing. It's worth it in the end because we do know there's going to be a resolution and they're going to be together in the end. And that's something that I love about romance. And Emma Scott, let me tell you, she's such an underrated author. She deserves all of her flowers because her books are amazing. I have not liked any book I've read by her. Every book has been 4 or 5 stars. I have yet to rate a book lower than 4 stars. So this is a really great backlist romance, really great single dad book, and I highly recommend this one. It's kind of nanny because she does end up helping him out. She doesn't become his like official nanny. She more so like, you know, babysits for him, but it's kind of like that. So really great one. I enjoyed it, and let me tell you guys, I'm just going to be definitely reading more backlist romances because they're so good. All right, so the next one, Curious Beginning by Deanna Raybourn. This is the first book in the Veronica Speedwell series. So I have heard so much about this series for years, but I'm finally got around to reading it. Yeah, this is a murder mystery set in Victorian England. This is rivals to lovers. And let me tell you that these two, Veronica and Stoker, have like the best banter. There's even an only one bed moment in here. So this book is not really like, I went into this book thinking it was historical romance, but it's really not. It's a very heavy on like the historical fiction part of it and the murder mystery elements in the story. So if you like Sherlock Holmes, or if you like that movie Enola Holmes, then I think you'll really like this one. Veronica is not your average kind of, I think this takes place in like the 1800s. It's definitely giving I'm not like other girls vibes. It is, and I'm fine with it. Okay, Veronica Speedwell is just that girl. Veronica, her aunt has just passed away, and so she just, you know, kind of set her aunt to rest on her own now. She can kind of just do like whatever she kind of wants. She does whatever she wants anyway. And there's this person who comes along, and he tells her that she's in danger, and he's like, I want to take care of you. I knew your mother, which sparks Veronica's interest because Veronica doesn't know anything about her mother. Her mother passed away a long time ago when she was young. So she goes with this man, and he's like, look, I have someone that you can trust, that you can stay with. And the man that helped her ends up dead. And Stoker is the man that he, you know, said that she could stay with. And Stoker is actually accused, kind of. People think that he kind of is responsible for the murder, or it could be Veronica. And so they have to figure out what happened, and they go on a very interesting journey. And there's even like a little bit of a fake marriage dating part element in the story too. This book gets kind of bonkers, but let me tell you guys, if you like murder mystery, this has an amazing plot twist that I did not see coming. It was so good. It was juicy. The tea was hot, and I enjoyed it. And I really like the way that Deanna Raybourn just kind of let it happen naturally to the story. Like, it unraveled very, very well. But let me tell you, this book has an excellent romance. So this is not a romance. This is like historical fiction with a strong romance element to the story that we get to see develop throughout the series. This is a slow burn romance. Stoker and Veronica have the most amazing banter that I've read in a long time. And like I said, there's like an only one bed moment because Stoker kind of gets them in a situation that is bonkers. There's like a circus. You just gotta read it, okay? It's crazy, but I really love Veronica and Stoker's romance already. I am absolutely obsessed, eating it up. Okay, I ate it up and I want more. So I have to continue with this series. I have a jam-packed April TBR. So many new releases are coming out that I'm excited for, but let me tell you, I am invested in Veronica and Stoker's journey, and I'm excited to see this romance just kind of continue to develop over the books. So it's very slow burn, but I've heard that it's worth it. So very excited. I really enjoyed Deanna Raybourn's writing. There are a few words in here, like there's the G word, the G slur that's said in here. There's a few language choices that are outdated, and I just want to mention that. This book came out in 2015, so I do want to tell you all that, but I did really like this book, and it was great, and it might be taken out of the print versions. I don't know. I listened to this on audio. It's available on Hoopla, and that's how I'm reading this series. I will be continuing, and I'm excited to continue with the series and see what's in store for the Veronica Speedwell series. Okay, so now to talk about my favorite book that I read, which is Funny Story by Emily Henry. This book is not out yet. It comes out April 23rd, so we have quite a while until it comes out. But let me tell you, you will want to read it right when it comes out. I actually really want to reread it, but I want to get a physical copy so I can annotate it. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait to reread it. But I listened to this on audio. Julia Whelan narrates, and she is fantastic. She's one of my favorite narrators of all time. I have an audiobook recommendations video coming to you guys soon. Anyway, Julia Whelan is just chef's kiss. She is amazing. She is so good at what she does. Here's the thing. I love Emily Henry. I'm a big Emily Henry fan. But her last book, Happy Place, right? Sounds fun. Wasn't my favorite at all. And I was like, I need her to do something a little bit different. Kind of getting bored with her books. And I can't say this one is fully different, but it was still different than Happy Place, and I'm happy about that. This book was an absolute winner for me. I was completely smitten by this book. Like, it is so good. I loved it. This book, it's giving beach read. Yeah. If you like book lovers, you're going to like this book. Well, I don't know. Some people don't like book lovers, but I think if you like beach read, I feel pretty strongly to say this gave me the beach read vibes. It gave me the vibes of when I read her first adult romance, because she was writing YA before she wrote beach read. I love this book, you guys. Okay, so this is a roommate's romance, friends to lovers, fake dating, forced proximity, summer romance, okay? Which she is my summer romance queen, okay? She writes the best summer romances. Even if I don't love them, I'm like, it's close to summer. It's time for me to read an Emily Henry book. I would read everything this woman writes forever because I just love her writing. Even the books that I don't love, I love her writing. She can't write a bad book. Anyway, so in this book, we are following Daphne. Daphne is engaged to her fiance, and her fiance comes back to her and he says, hey, so we have a problem, okay? We cannot get married because I realized on my bachelor trip that I am in love with my best friend. Daphne is completely heartbroken and just taken aback by this. And he's like, so we're actually going to try this. We're going to make this work. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you some time so you can move out and figure out your living situation. I'm sorry. So she's just like, what is happening? Heartbroken. And in comes our hero, Miles, who I love. Okay. Miles comes in and he's just confused. He just can't believe that this is happening. But Daphne and Miles end up rooming together. So she ends up moving in with Miles. And so we have this very like messy situation. Fast forward a couple months after this event has happened. Daphne and Miles don't really have a relationship. They don't have a friendship. They haven't really talked much. They don't really communicate a whole lot. What happens is they end up having to fake date, right, for their ex's sake. And that is how they kind of start to kind of have more interactions, and they form this friendship that is so pure and sweet and fun. Let me tell you, Miles is Nick Miller coded. If you have watched New Girl, then that should get you to read this book. If you haven't watched New Girl, just know that Nick Miller is one of my favorite. Honestly, he's one of my favorite guys from any television show. I love Nick Miller. I'm a big Nick Miller girl. I need more Nick Miller romances because that is Miles. He is Nick Miller coded. I love him. But Emily Henry is just really good at writing these kind of romances that just seem so real. Like, these two people seem so real to me, and I just felt like I was getting such an intimate look at what they were going through in this particular moment in their lives. And we just really get into the story. You feel like you're a huge part of the story. I felt very connected with the story. I felt like I went through these things with them. This is a very heartbreaking time in their lives. I felt so bad for Daphne and everything that she has gone through, and just this heartbreak that she was going through. It was so sad. And Emily Henry can just write her butt off. There is really nobody who can really write a book like Emily Henry. She has a very distinctive writing style, and she has this way with words to where I feel like I'm experiencing everything that the characters are feeling. I can smell exactly what she's describing. It's very tactile. I can hear it. I'm a part of the story. And there's not too many writers that make me feel so a part of the story like Emily Henry does. And that's what I want. I want to get so lost in the story that I feel like this is real. I feel like these characters are real. That's when I feel that I'm really connected to a story, and that's what Funny Story made me feel. This also takes place in Michigan. Really, I love that Emily Henry takes us all around with her stories, and the setting of her stories is a very important part of the book. It kind of becomes its own character. Like, the setting of the story is very important. Our heroine is a librarian. I like that all of her characters are kind of bookish, and I love that about Daphne. She really loves her job, and it was just so sweet and charming. I loved it. I want to move to this little town in Michigan. It was just, honestly, the way she described it, it was just so beautiful. And Emily Henry writes these female characters that I really love. These characters they don't really have a home, but they always find a home within this little, where they're staying at, and the characters, and there's always like a found family element to her stories that I just really like. There's just some kind of like element where the heroine or the character feels kind of left out, but when they meet their person, they kind of have this family, and I love it. I really love it. She dives into parental relationships and like dynamics in this book. Our heroine is very close with her mother, but she has this very estranged and complicated relationship with her father, and that bleeds into her life. And I loved how she showed that in this book. I cannot relate to that, but it was very interesting to read about, and I enjoyed it. If you can't tell, I really love this story. It was beautiful. It is so good, and I felt so connected. I was so attached to Daphne and Miles. I was like sad when this book ended. I really liked how she dealt with the conflict in this story. I thought it was realistic just because what we know about our characters. And also, I feel like I love the way that Emily Henry writes male characters. And in this particular instance with Miles' character, he is absolutely Nick Miller coded. He is funny. He has the best like sense of humor and the best personality. And he really becomes very protective of Daphne, and especially after everything that she's gone through. But he has a wall up, and he doesn't really let you in too much. But when Miles opens up, you just really get to know him, and oh, my heart. I loved him. I felt so hard for him, and I understand why Daphne felt hard for him too, and why Miles felt for Daphne. They're just perfect. And I love this book. It's a very special book to me. I really want to reread it just so I can like annotate it, and I do plan on rereading it when I get the physical copy. But pick this book up when it comes out on April 23rd. It is one of my favorite romances that I read this year. It just made me feel so many things, and it was absolutely fantastic. So 6 stars for me. I loved it. So that is it for my March reads. It ended on a good note. Like, I found a new favorite, and that's all that matters. I'm hoping that April will be better. So make sure that you are subscribed to me so that you guys can hear everything I have to say about all the books that I will read in April and my next wrap up. But thank you all so much for watching. Let's see. What should we do for the emoji of the video? Leave me like the little stack of books emoji, because a funny story and our heroine works in the library. Leave me that. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all in my next video.